Hello.
Hello, Dan.
How are you?
Not too bad. How are you?
I'm good, thank you.
Okay.
Okay.
Good chat. Right. Thank you for listening to this episode.
Sorry. No, okay. So it's a shower thought episode, right?
Yeah. So basically what's been on my mind for a while, well, it's not, as in it just comes and goes. Basically, I have this conversation with a lot of people and I just have it with myself just to try and make sure that I am right in terms of what I'm saying. Well, right in my own opinion. It's basically I'm just trying to justify why I spent a lot of money on my backpack and why you should also spend a lot of money, not just on a backpack, but obviously it's very situational. For me, a backpack required allowed me to spend a lot of money on it because of my requirements with it. But in general, with a lot of things, just spending a decent amount of money to get a nice high quality product. And there are a few aspects you have to take into consideration as to whether you should spend a lot of money on a particular thing, whether it's technology, like a camera, a laptop, a phone, or something like a utility, like a backpack or a wallet or a bin.
That's a good one. Can I quickly ask, just to clarify, so I know exactly what train of thought we're going on. So it's not that, because obviously in an ideal world, if we were millionaires, we could just, everything we get would hopefully be expensive. It's knowing what is worth spending more money on if you have the means for it. Yeah. So being able to prioritize, if it's a bin, as you said, it's worth spending a bit more money on a good quality bin, or it's worth spending a bit more money. If you've got money to spend, save up and buy a good backpack with that money, as opposed to maybe buying an expensive shirt or something.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah. So there are two aspects to take into account. It's one, like how much use will you get out of it, and two, how much pleasure you can kind of get out of a particular thing, and what you find valuable in your day-to-day life, what kind of things that you find enjoyment in. For me, I like technology, like, just any kind of technology, whether it's microphones or laptops or cameras or phones, just any kind of technology. I really enjoy that stuff, just intrinsically. I don't know what it is about it. I just get a lot of value out of it. Even just watching people talk about it, I get a lot of value out of it. And other things, just like convenience and things that I like, just utility convenience, like my wallet, which is, that card holder where you can just, it's RFID blocking, but then if you hit the little flick switch thing at the top, the back card can be used, but you can also release the front card, like just stuff like that. And it's just, and it also looks good in terms of, like, it suits my kind of aesthetic, where it's just thin, sleek, black, and I like it. It's the same thing with my backpack, which I kind of also needed. So I needed a new backpack just because I was being limited by what I currently had. So that was one factor. I was being limited by what I currently had. It was a small kind of anti-theft backpack, which wasn't so great. It did its job. It carried stuff from A to B on my back. But you could only put things in the compartments and stuff, and it would protect your laptop nicely and everything, which was my main thing. So it did the job, but I wanted to take my camera around so I could go around, just taking photos, just, street photography, just randomly at a moment's notice. But I couldn't do that. I couldn't either protect it or I just couldn't fit enough stuff in my bag just because my necessities, what I needed and stuff.
Because the one you have right now is a lot bigger, right?
It is bigger.
On the inside, kind of. It doesn't look like a very big bag, but that's something I noticed about it. You can fit a lot of stuff in your bag.
Yeah, you can. But it's also very organized because it has modular compartments, like a special camera compartment that you can take in and out as well. Yeah. And you can even modularize that camera compartment. Modularize, that's not a word.
No, I like it.
So, yeah. And the other thing is it also has a roll top at the top, so you can also expand it and make it bigger. So that was actually a huge thing. Say if I'm coming back from uni, I would walk past the Tesco and I want to, just do some groceries, and I couldn't because I didn't have some like bags, like, carrying grocery bags in my backpack.
You don't want to pay that 20p.
And it's just irritating because I know I have some in my room. Yeah. So I don't want to spend more because it's not so much about spending because it's only like 20p, which is at least fairly menial at that point. But it's more about just you spending more on plastic, which is just not necessary. So yeah, I'd have to go back, and then then you just kind of feel lazy and unpack and everything, and then go back to. It just takes a lot of time doing that. Whereas I could have just done it on the way. So with a roll top, I can just kind of roll it up, roll it open, and just kind of put it in. But
how high does the roll top go?
It actually goes fairly high. So I mean, I can open it up. This isn't a plug. This isn't sponsored, and the whole point of this isn't specifically about backpacks. And I'll get to that, but. So you can store an extra like 5 liters of stuff, and it goes quite deep. But yeah, anyway.
You can put like a bike helmet in there. It's nice.
Yeah.
Padded. I see what you mean.
You can even strap stuff. So there are mounting points to add straps. So I can strap a tripod underneath or to the front. So there's just a lot to it. And it also has the aesthetic that I really like.
I know, the clean, unbranded, like it just suits you a lot. I can see why this backpack, that is you in a backpack.
Yeah, basically. That's why I love it so much. Even just the zips are nice. Like I can just, every time I do the zips and stuff, it's just nice because they're all sealed and stuff. It's heavily padded inside. It's protecting everything. Easy to access on the go. Even has like a camera side access pocket, which, is convenient and fun to use. So every time I use it, I get enjoyment out of using it.
You're using it every day.
Yeah.
So if you're getting a 10% improvement on your quality of bag usage by having this, because I mean the ultimate aim is to just carry stuff and you're not always using it to the max, but it's just every time you're using it, it's just a bit useful compared to your other one. It's just a bit more convenient.
Yeah.
So that, do you mind me asking how much you spent on the backpack or what range it was in?
So the backpack itself was like 130. I got it on offer, so it was around 120, I think. And then I got some extra accessories and like modules to put my camera stuff. That cost a bit more. Basically, the total cost was around £200-ish.
Yeah.
So it's a lot more than most people probably spend on a backpack.
£200, yeah.
So, so that's not necessarily saying that, I just have a lot of money just to spend on things, because I don't really spend money on anything else outside of certain pieces of technology. Say my laptop, but I got this like 4 years ago. Yeah, it was a significant buy, but I got it 4 years ago and I'm getting a lot of value out of it. It'd be good to do like video editing and stuff. It's still, doing the job. So I've had it for a long time. I haven't bought any more laptops. Whereas before, my parents would buy really cheap, those really cheap like Acer laptops or Dell laptops and stuff. That would just kind of break after like a year. You spend like £300 on them and then they'd break, and they're all plasticky and they're slow and they're buggy and stuff. Have so much freeware bloated on. It's just not a nice experience. You don't get much enjoyment out of using it. So instead, over the 4 years, if I just kept buying laptops like that, I would have probably ended up spending like £1,000 or £1,500. So I just spent all of that in one go on a nice high-end laptop, all in one go, done and dusted, and it's just serving me well.
So you're saying even in terms of raw monetary value, often buying something expensive can be a better decision economically.
Yeah.
Than buying a cheap thing multiple times because it keeps breaking. Yeah. And also there's the value of how much nicer it is to use.
Exactly. So it's kind of a double whammy. And there are two types of value, right? There's that instant gratification, a high amount of like dopamine. Yeah, that was serotonin. Dopamine. A high amount of dopamine in one go. That you can think of it like a really nice meal in a restaurant. One time hit, done. You never get to experience that again until you go to it again and you purchase it again. So you only experience it once for that purchase. Whereas with something like utilities, which I really do like to spend money on, or, just convenient utilities, say my wallet as well. Very, very sleek card holder, use front and back, very clean. Just being able to get the utility out of it just means that every time I just flick open my wallet, it's like, that little 2% every single time, but that just keeps compounding.
Yeah.
And then the overall pleasure I've gained from just using that one thing over time is way better than me spending say if you go to a restaurant and spend £30 on a really nice meal, you just get to do that once and stuff. And some people get real good joy out of eating. I mean, most people probably get joy out of eating, nice food and stuff. But for me, just doing it once and just spending, say, 30 quid and just doing that straight away, I'd either just save it or rather buy it on something that I can use every single day. And yeah, the instant hit won't be as much in that one go, but I get to experience some little amount of joy and value every single day, or whenever.
Yours is incremental. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's not to say having just big bursts of joy and value isn't a bad thing, but you should kind of figure out what you truly get value out and where you kind of spend money. I'm basically saying don't really spend money on those instant one-time things. So I'm spending my money on things like technology or a backpack, things that I use every day, like my laptop. Whereas, what about your clothes? I personally don't really take much, I don't get much value from clothes and stuff. I just like it to be simple, clean, not eye-catching. Basically, it's just black and just simple. That's basically my wardrobe. Very monotone. That's all I want, and I that's where I get my pleasure. And generally, it's fairly cheap. But the thing is that I wear the same kind of clothes every day and stuff, but not actually the same clothes, but similar types of clothes that they all look the same.
You're like Mark Zuckerberg.
Yeah, I just said I open my wardrobe. It's just like, oh, which black hoodie should I wear today? Yeah. So. Yeah, but I get that's the level of value I get out of it. But some people really get enjoyment in terms of deciding their outfit and figuring
it's an expression
out,
of yourself.
Yeah, exactly. And some people, like one of my friends at uni, he really got enjoyment out of like just genuine value from buying the latest drop of shoes and stuff, and changing his outfits and spending time getting dressed and figuring things out and stuff. And that's the thing he kind of valued and really enjoyed. So that justifies him spending more money on it, because you should spend money on things you get value out of and enjoy. For me, it's like things like utilities like backpacks and my laptop, whereas he didn't really get that too much.
It's interesting. I mean, I can think of, so me personally, I can definitely see the value in going for a nice meal. I've gone for a few nice meals before to a really nice restaurant. Excuse me. It's the elixir. So I've gone to a few nice restaurants before, and it's a weird thing. I used to think when I was younger, what's the point in like paying for an experience sometimes?
Yeah.
I know you do agree for the most part as well. Like it's nice to have those experiences, but I still get value from that restaurant visit. I can't really explain it. Like there've been a few times where I will look back at it and I still have that value now. Like memories and stuff, they're a very good way to I don't know, spending money on a memory or an experience is really good. But I also see how, especially the bit that I agree with the most, because I'm a bit like you in that, for example, my wallet, I spent hours. You remember when I bought my wallet a few months ago? I spent hours looking for the right one. I went through hundreds. I came up with this very specific set of criteria. For some reason, it mattered to me way more than it should have, to the point where, I was looking at the thickness of the material, and it almost became important to me, like, the shade of brown. No, the shade of brown didn't matter, but what you were talking about, RFID protection, the amount of layers where you're protected, where I'd put each card, whether when you open it, it's got the ID straight away, like, that's 0.5 seconds to the security guard.
Yeah.
Do I have to open it to scan the oyster? Yeah, stuff like that became really important. I put a lot of time into it, and now I get a lot of value out of it every single day. I'm really glad I made the right choice. You would hope so after spending hours. And I use that wallet every day, and I can see exactly why it's worth it. The other thing is I spent £15 on my wallet. I maybe otherwise would have spent £8. This wallet just has to last twice as long, It's pretty good quality. And then I've made a monetary gain on it. And as well as every single day having that small benefit from it. So I definitely see something like a laptop, you're using it every day. Your backpack, you're using every day. Clothes, you're using them every day, but it's different because you're talking about the functional aspect, right? This is pretty much purely functional. This isn't about a statement that you're making. So for example, with fashion, there are the two sides to it as well. Obviously, there's like the comfort aspect. This keeps me warm. This is a high quality material. This is eco-friendly. You might spend more money for those reasons, but then there's also the reason of like the message you're giving to other people, like the brand that increases the price of something so much, having a particular label on it. And I see how something you're using all the time is worth spending more money on. But I would also argue that in doing that, you can take away the enjoyment, or it can be unnecessary sometimes, I think. I look at, for example, my mum or my girlfriend, they've just got very normal wallets. It's just like a zip actually, and it just opens up.
Yeah.
I don't think
A
they're
purse.
yeah, that would be the word. So yeah, like they have a very standard money holding device, and I don't think they're like missing out. I don't look at them using it and think like they should be using a like, where's the RFID protection?
It's because they don't place the value in it. They don't really care about it, so they shouldn't really spend money on it. Don't spend money on things you don't care about.
And I'm so sorry, I've spoken for like 4 minutes straight. I'm actually using up a lot of our half an hour.
No, it's fine.
But it's really interesting, the word value, and what does that mean? Because like, what does the word value mean?
Okay, yeah.
So before you were talking about your parents, I think a lot of parents or a lot of people, you know, they like getting a discount on something, and it's like, there's value to that in itself, right? Like having a product, I get that. Like having a product that you got for half price, and you're like, I got this for half of what it's actually worth. It's really cool. Like I like that. There's value to that as well. So yeah, essentially it's what do you place your value on, and on things you're using all the time, put value purely on the functionality of it. I agree with that.
Yeah, and I guess another aspect of it is...
Mic drop.
Another aspect is that I find a lot of people struggle with controlling their finances or what they should spend money on and stuff. So this is a kind of good way to kind of figure out how you should spend your money and where to spend your money, and to make like how to budget things properly. Because if you are struggling with your finances in any way, you want to at least make sure that the money you are spending is giving you pleasure in some kind of way. Obviously, I'm talking about as long as your necessities are covered, then after that. So yeah, say if you're just spending a lot of money, say if I was eating out and I was also buying some new clothes and everything, but then I also wanted a new laptop. Where do I, but because I'm spending my money on food and clothes, things that I don't really get value out of, I'm almost wasting my money, because I'm not wasting my money, but I'm wasting my money in terms of what I could be getting value out of instead of like getting a new laptop. And just because and this is another point, just because you get value out of something, say I get value out of, new technology, I haven't gone and bought the new M1 MacBooks that came out, and they are insane. And I'm heavily tempted, but I am. Because they're so good for video related stuff. Well, at least once they optimize it and stuff for the Adobe suite. But I haven't gone out and bought it because I don't need it right now. It's when I am in the area to purchase something, then I go and purchase things. And the things with like technology and things like these backpacks and stuff, I only really spend money on things that I do truly value. But so I had this argument, or I think it was my mum that said, oh man, everything I buy is just expensive. Whereas like, oh, you can get a cheaper laptop, or you can get a cheaper microphone, or you can get a cheaper bag.
Oh, so they're saying everything you buy
is expensive. But they didn't really notice that I don't really spend money on anything else. Whereas say my sister, she's like decorating her house and stuff. She likes buying loads of little plant pots and stuff like that. Or she likes buying clothes, expensive clothes and stuff like that. So she's spending money. Each time she spends money, it's less.
Yeah.
But she's probably spending a lot more than I do overall. Whereas I just buy, one expensive thing a year or something. Yeah. I guess this year I bought a few more things, but I guess I had the means this year to spend a bit more money than I usually do. And
living a home life.
Yeah. So saved a lot of money. But yeah, so all of these things where I really don't like eating out that much. Like, yes, I will like that burger and I will enjoy it, but I know that, okay, I really do want this later on and I can see myself needing it later on. So let me just save it to make sure I can buy it, and then I'm not stressed out by that later on. So it's kind of multifaceted. You need to figure out what you truly find value in. Lots of people, when they get rich, like say if someone gets rich or they become a millionaire or something, they just buy cars, fancy cars. They're just flaunting it about. Whereas someone else might, like, you see some people who say don't have the biggest house, or they aren't actually that rich, but they'll have like a really nice car, and you're like, why do you even have that? Your house isn't that big or something. Yes.
I have a question.
Okay.
I'll let you finish first. But...
Oh, okay. So yeah, going on that point, that person might truly really like cars. Like, he might not even drive that particular one. He might have another car that he actually drives day to day, but he just keeps the other one in his garage because he likes working on it, or just, admiring it, maybe he'll go out for a joyride. He really gets a lot of value in it. So that's why he didn't decide to buy a nice big house. Instead, he spent a lot of money on his car because maybe he doesn't really care too much about his house. As long as he has a roof over his head, it's well kept and stuff, it's fine for him. So you have to really figure out, what do I really enjoy, something that I use frequently, or maybe you don't have to use it frequently, but usually the ones you use more frequently are better.
So in having
no.
So in having an expensive car, a really nice car that maybe you don't even particularly like, the value you're getting a lot of the time is other people's opinion of you, or you're feeling good by impressing other people. So no,
okay.
For example, someone who buys a Rolex but they don't know anything about watches, and they don't particularly get anything from having the Rolex. There will be people like that. The value. So then it's like, why do you have it? And I think the answer in those cases, the honest answer would probably be because it feels good to have something that's expensive and it's impressive, or it will impress other people. And in a way, that's their interpretation of value, right? They're getting value out of it. It's not. It doesn't align with my idea of value, but that's the value. Because otherwise, why get it in the first place? People get something usually because there's an element of value in that for them. So the value in them getting that was that they feel good in having something nice, and other people thinking, "Oh, that's really nice." That's their value. Personally, I hope that I don't usually think too much like that. Maybe my Under Armour.
That's why so with stuff like that, I purposely try and make sure everything that I get is as unbranded as possible. Yeah. Just so there isn't that kind of label on it and stuff. It doesn't attract an eye towards it or anything. And going to that point where, say if you just like the feel of it and it looks nice having something expensive. The thing is that now your kind of value in terms of what you kind of gain pleasure out of, say people's opinions are, oh man, he's got a Rolex or something. If you get pleasure out of that, that's very extrinsic. I'm just saying, I personally think that's kind of a problematic kind of way of living, or not way of living, or just kind of mindset to have. So
I agree, but I really hope I don't do that. And in fact, I don't do that. Like most of the time, I don't think I do. I don't actually have a very good fashion sense. I should probably improve it and use more brands and get some help from it. Because I don't think enough about it. But I think feeling good is a big element of it, and those things make people feel good. That's value in a way. Like maybe we choosing a shallow example, saying like a watch that you know nothing about, but say you've bought an outfit which is quite expensive. You've got the new Jordans or something. Even if you don't particularly love them, the people admire you for it, and it probably makes you feel a bit better about yourself. You feel good in having it. I can understand that, and I think in certain contexts it's okay, and we all probably do that in our own way. But it's like the idea of, it's a question I want to ask you. What does value mean to you? So I think I'm going to get quite a functional answer from you. What do you consider valuable in something? Not monetarily, obviously. What do you get value from?
Something that I use frequently and find pleasurable to interact with.
Yeah, okay. I'm thinking if mine's the same. What do I get value? For me, it's something, okay, this is a very silly answer probably. Something that I like. I think that's what I get value.
Oh God. So what I mean by, it's just like, say your laptop, there are so many small things like on a MacBook, like just the way the trackpad feels on your finger, it's so good. And okay, at first it will be very novel and everything, but then afterwards it would kind of become less so, but every day you are still experiencing that in the background. So yeah, and I guess this is another side point as well, because you mentioned something about discounts. Basically, if something that you kind of that you would like but you don't need, and it's on a discount, say half price, never think that when you're buying something on discount that you're saving. If it's £400 and it's 50% off, don't think you are saving £200. Think you are spending £200. Just forget the discount and just think that you're still spending £200, because
I get what you mean.
I guess this kind of whole conversation, or this whole kind of premise, started off by saying, "Oh, why'd you spend £200 on a bag?" And they were like, "Man, you must have loads of money." I was like, "No, I'm just kind of smart about my money, where I don't spend it anywhere else." And if there is a discount and you were looking into buying something and you were gonna need it, and it goes on discount, then obviously buy it if you were actually going to just buy it otherwise. but don't just buy it just because it's on discount.
But then the value in that for someone might be the fact that they've got a discount on it, and they like the fact that they've got a discount. Like they like that. That makes them happy.
That's a very slippery slope into just bad financial management, I think.
I do agree. Like
every time you see an offer, just because like if I see like some sausages that are like half or like two for one, I'm not just going to buy them. I can't even eat them. But if you get so much value out of, okay, that's an extreme example, but if you get so much value out of just buying, getting good deals or something, that seems pretty problematic because.
But that's what a lot of people do.
You can get a car for half price, right? It was £60,000 and now it's £30,000, but you don't have £30,000 to spend, and now you're leasing a car which you don't even have the means to buy. It's a very slippery slope.
I got a big argument in favor of it potentially. By the way, I do on the most part agree with you. What if there are two cars worth £20,000 and you actually somehow you like them perfectly the same amount? Like you just like them exactly equally somehow. They're two different cars. And then you find out one is half price. So one was reduced from 40,000 down to 20,000. You may be more tempted to buy the more expensive one because you're thinking, oh, there's something in that I don't understand, or like, I don't know. I can see why it would make someone feel good, basically, but I don't know.
I guess my kind of point of view is I have done things where I've seen something where they're the same price and they're very similar in terms of specification, but one was reduced from a higher price. And if I can't figure out why.
Yes,
I really don't care which one I buy at that point. I'd usually just buy which one I just feel more inclined towards, even if it's the one without the discount.
I feel a bit out of my depth on the money sense because I do agree, and also it's something that I don't really do is because I don't agree with like how much people value a certain product. You can't really trust it. You know, if something's reduced from £20 down to £10, I don't necessarily trust that it was originally £20 because obviously that's a common technique used. So I do agree, going with the deals is the wrong thing, but I do think that you can get value from you can get value from getting a good deal in a way. Like I get a rush in a weird way. Okay, but there's one more thing I was going to say. How about defining it as a transaction? So value in something is with this one it's it's like a trade. Either I could say I have value from this conversation, and it's what I'm getting from the conversation is worth the energy and the time input into the conversation. So therefore it's valuable for me. Could you define valuable as like a net gain from something? Adding up, money is a big factor. Time investment is probably quite a common one as well. Effort, input.
Yeah, so that phrase of net gain, that's exactly what I'm kind of going for. Spend money on things that you'll get a net gain in terms of pleasure or whatever, or return on investment, right? The thing is that for most people, just going out and eating every other day at a restaurant,
right,
even if it's just a takeaway, is not going to be a good net gain in terms of return on investment, in terms of the money specifically. Whereas saving that money and spending it on something, for me, like a wallet, or maybe for someone like a watch that they really like, where they can use it all the time. For me, like a backpack, where I'm getting these, or even like we have in the kitchen, like a bin. It was fairly expensive when we bought it. We did get it on a discount, but we needed a bin when we moved in. So we're like, we'll get this electronic sensor one. It's so, I still find it, we've had it for like 6 years. I still just find it fun to use. It's pleasurable to use. It's just, I've got it just kind of opens itself. You put your stuff and closes itself. It's just nice. Like, so spend money and buy an expensive bin.
So two people can buy this exact same thing and get a completely different set of, like, they can value it in a completely different way. So it's about understanding what you value in something, basically. What does value mean to you? And knowing, am I happy with that definition of value? Should I change that? And it's something we should probably always be changing and improving.
Yeah. And I guess that's kind of the premise of it. Just think about what you spend, what you get value out of, and try and buy something that you'll constantly gain benefit and value and enjoyment from. And we have about 20 seconds left, so we'll leave it there. So hopefully that sparks some thoughts. If you have your own thoughts, then let us know, and we'll leave it at that. All right.
We'll leave it at that.
All right. Peace.
Peace.
Thank you for listening to this episode of Getting It.
If you enjoyed this episode,
or didn't,
then feel free to leave us a rating and review on the Apple Podcasts app or on the Apple Podcasts website.
We'd love to hear your thoughts, ideas, or questions about anything we discussed, so feel free to email us at thoughts@gettingit.co.uk.
You can also reach us on Twitter or Instagram at gettingit_pod.
You can find all the links in the show notes.